Oh, Dana Delaney. I forgot about her.
Yeah. Not yet, though, right?
Oh, no. We get Alfre Woodard and Dana Delaney, and then Vanessa Williams comes in. She comes in really late, later than she should have. She fits in well, but I wish she was in much earlier. Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching Desperate Housewives, Season 1, Episode 1.
Pilot.
Yeah. I feel better. I was getting real nervous, like I always get whenever we start something that I want, that I like pushed, and then I'm like, do I really want this?
Of course.
There's so much about this show and so much about my experience with the show. So I was 18, properly 18. This was like the first adult show that I watched.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff, rewatching this pilot now, that is very standard. That's very tropey. It's very even cliche. Even just the dynamics, the marriage dynamics and the relationship stuff, it was much fresher to me when I was 18. And it was kind of like a whole new world. Like I
remember this being kind of groundbreaking.
It kind of was. It's 2004, and at the time ABC was kind of tanking, and between this, Lost, and Grey's Anatomy, there was like 5 shows that had gotten renewed by one of
just greenlit, not even
or renewed rather, by one of like the higher ups, and they were so expensive. Because Boston Public was one of them. I don't remember. But basically, they like fired him, and then they were all hits. Yeah. And it re-energized ABC. They had like a makeover after this, and it turned into this whole thing where like Sunday nights, it was definitely me and my mom. For a long time, it was Andrew. But we would get Chinese food. We would watch America's Funniest Home Videos, Extreme Makeover Home Edition, Desperate Housewives, and then it used to be Boston Legal. I said Boston Public, Boston Legal. And then that switched to, I don't remember. It switched around, but no, it was Marc Cherry, and I think he had written on Golden Girls, maybe.
Yes, he did.
I don't remember if this is his first show, but I remember he was in like a lull, and he was at his mother's house, and he was watching Sex and the City, and she hated Sex and the City. She thought it was really trite. And she like told him, where she was just like, women just don't talk that way to each other. She was like, the real story is in the secrets women don't tell each other.
Well, that's interesting.
And so that's where it was born for him. This is a very interesting pilot. It's
a lot.
Jam-packed. Yeah. It is.
Well, we like meet each of the women and their families, and we find out enough about each of them to know what kind of archetype they are. And then we find out 3 different secrets, which is Gabrielle is cheating with the yard boy. Bree's husband wants a divorce, and she accidentally tried to kill him.
I can't believe you tried to kill me.
Yes, well, I feel badly about that.
And then Mary Alice killed herself, and because I know what you did.
Oh, Mary Alice, what did you do?
Kind of
someone,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah. And then there was also the thing with Mary Alice's husband digging up the pool.
It was the sound of a family secret.
A lot. All the husbands are garbage.
They get fleshed out. You were not a fan of Tom at the moment.
Daddy's home!
Come on! Hey, is anybody home?
Okay, he's very cute. I like him, but like, he is away on a business trip, and he leaves his wife with these 4. The baby seems fine, but it's a baby. These 3 terror children alone with no help, because he insisted that she leave her job when she got pregnant, even though she definitely didn't want to. And then he comes back, gives the kids a football, makes them go outside, and then tries to fuck her without a condom. Because why don't we just risk it?
Let's risk it?
Yeah.
And so she socks him in the face.
4 kids in 3 years.
Ew. Ew. Absolutely not. Tom Scavo currently in the garbage.
So he ends up. I don't know that we get to it in season 1. I don't remember everything.
No, I remember
They
a lot.
flesh him out a lot, and he ends
up.
up being kind of like the like.
Yeah.
the
Well,
good-
I know. I remember at some point Lynette goes back to work. Like she's
Sure.
the one that goes back to work.
You can tell that he had like a more conservative upbringing, and so he has these ideas. Tom has these ideas of what a husband and wife are supposed to be, and
Maybe he should be married to Bree.
that would not work.
I don't know. Tom feels like he could be henpecked, but apparently it is ruining Rex's life to have this beautiful Jezebel wife cooking him gourmet dinners every night.
Rex, seeing that you're the head of this household, I would really appreciate you saying something.
Pass the salt.
Shock, you're coming down real hard on Bree's side.
Okay, so that's what I said right when we sat down. Is I was like, it was like the first time we saw Terry Hatcher, and I was like, I feel like I don't like her as an adult. I was like, I feel like the zaniness is not gonna play for me when I'm nearing 40.
She's frequently naked and falling over.
Yeah, and I'm just
There's a lot of whoa.
never once in my life have I or anyone I know fallen over naked by accident in a precarious situation. A precarious social situation.
I remember because they were advertising it all summer,
Yeah.
and I was like, Desperate Housewives. Ugh. It felt like a porn.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, it's not a porn.
Yeah, and because I even remember like all the studios they kept trying to get him to change the name to Wysteria Lane. And he was like, Wysteria Lane gets canceled on its 3rd episode.
Yeah.
He was like, you need to grab people's attention. And so we tuned in to make fun of it because we thought the name and the marketing campaign was really avant-garde. And so I remember, I cannot remember the friend that was with me. It might have been Rachel, it might have been Jen. I only have 5 friends, so the odds are. But I remember being upstairs, and at the time, I think we had 2 numbers. I don't remember because I don't think it was my cell phone, but I remember either my mom calling me or me calling her from upstairs and being like, are you watching this? And we were like, yes. And so we went downstairs and finished it. And I can remember Gabrielle mowing the lawn. It was the height of like comedy. And,
Okay.
like,
It's very funny, and for several reasons. The first of which is Eva Longoria is teensy tiny. She weighs less than that lawnmower.
they talk about how, because Gabby is supposed to be like 6'2". She's supposed to be like this Amazon model.
No,
And
this is better.
Yeah.
And so it's because she's teeny tiny. She's wearing that dress, and then also she has made sure that Carlos is going to keep getting drinks, so he's distracted at this party, so she can whip back into the neighborhood and do all of this so that he doesn't fire the yard boy she's having an affair with. It like the whole thing is
It's pretty despicable
because
considering how
because he's also that anal about their yard that he can
He's-
like tell.
he's awful.
Yeah.
I remember generally liking Carlos. It's a very Beauty and the Beast thing. He's real volatile. And I do have a very specific memory of him manhandling her.
Oh, I'm sure it happens a lot.
It like in a like, ooh, you can't come back. I
Oh, okay.
think in like season 5 or something, he makes her sign a post-nup.
Ooh.
It's gross.
Yeah, no.
And so I have that in my, because I have a soft spot for most of the husbands, and I have that in the back of my mind that it's like, it's one of those things that I was like, I don't remember if I can get over it or if I ever fully got over it. But that aside, I largely remember liking Carlos, but I think it's because he's engineered for you to not like him. Like,
Okay.
because it's all he's doing is talking about money.
I really hate the way you talk to me.
And I really hate that I spent $15,000 on your diamond necklace that you couldn't live without. But I'm learning to deal with it.
And it's a lot of money, but it's also, I mean, 20 years have passed.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, so you spent $15,000 on a necklace, dude. Like,
Yeah. Oh, you need this guy for $200,000? Like,
yeah. Well, and so, when he keeps saying Tanaka,
Yeah.
which I think is from Kill Bill. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, he's dealing with the Yakuza. And I'm like, that's not
No,
in the show.
definitely
I don't
not.
think. I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't think so.
But I think each of the 4, 5, including Edie, 6, including Mary Alice, I think that those women had such a grip on their characters and what they were doing. And I noticed it a lot. I think Felicity Huffman is the standout.
Yeah.
I think they're all great.
Well, I think it's, especially as it builds, I think it's her and Marcia Cross.
I think they're all great. I think Felicity Huffman is the standout because even in her first scene with the girls, she's already doing a character within a character.
Mm-hmm.
And she does it like 3 times in this episode where she'll like make a joke and then make sure to be like,
Tom's always away on business. Do you ever worry he might?
Oh, please. The man's gotten me pregnant 3 times in 4 years. I wish he was having sex with someone else.
Yeah.
like she'll break the 4th wall. And it's like, it's just really consistent and it's really character informing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this show on the road.
Out of the women, Felicity Huffman is, for me, she is the best actress.
Because she leaves this with 2 Emmys.
Does she?
And it's one of the times that because I'm a big stickler for, I don't think a person should win
over and over and over
an Emmy for the same role or the same show over and over again. And it's like her first is a comedy and her second is a drama.
Cool.
Like it's like vastly different stories.
Yeah.
And so she's just a real pro, and she brings a grounding that I think the other 3 women desperately need.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I think it's Terry Hatcher and Eva Longoria the most. I think Marcia Cross is like right behind Felicity.
But Bree acting like chops wise, but Bree is an insane
she's
person.
Insane. Insane. Like, okay, so the scene at dinner when the kids are like, "Can we ever just have regular food?" Which understandable. However, they're not children.
I'm just surprised that she's like, that's for Friday. Let's penciled in the normal dinner.
Yeah, of course, we're doing Taco Tuesday or like Spaghetti Fridays or whatever. No, for sure. But they're also not children. They're old enough to be able to like appreciate this. And if they want regular food, you know what house you live in, go to your friend's house if you want normal food for dinner.
I'm also firmly on her side with Danielle's navy bean suggestion. Get out of here.
Navy beans are good.
Anyways.
Navy beans are good. No, but regardless, my point is that the way that she reacts when Andrew says that the ossobuco is fine.
Are you doing drugs?
What?
Change in behavior is one of the warning signs, and you have been as fresh as paint for the last 6 months.
Because she's like, I spent 3 hours making this. How do you think it makes me feel when you say it's just fine? And I am 100% on his team because he's like, no one asked you to spend 3 hours on dinner. You did this yourself. And like, even Rex is like, you can see him in his head just being like, he's right and he should say it because like, no one's forcing you to do this. And I kind of wish you weren't. And it's just such a manipulative mom tactic or like parent tactic to be like, well, I slaved over this for all day.
To give you, yeah.
And it's just like, I didn't fucking ask for that. You chose to do this on your own time. And like, also, she's a stay-at-home mom with like relatively grown children. All she's doing is homemaking, and although his like, my friend's mom just comes home and opens a can of pork and beans. Everyone's eating. And you were like, there's a middle ground.
There are shades of gray in between.
But again, it's sort of like, yeah, Bree, of course, sure. You spent 3 hours making osso buco for like seemingly a normal weeknight, which is insanity.
What is it?
It's like,
She cooks if you're new.
Yeah, it's like braised beef.
Okay.
But I think it's like the tail. I think it's like oxtail almost, or veal shanks. There we go. I don't eat veal, so. But regardless of that, I just am like, you could have just like made some chicken. Like you could have grilled some chicken with some sides or whatever.
Rosemary.
I'm on Andrew's side in this moment.
But
I remember him and the daughter ending up super terrible.
Well, Danielle, I'm going off of recollection. To my recollection, Danielle's, I think, sucks consistently. Like, I think she's terrible the whole time. And I think she kind of disappears. Sean Pyfrom and Marcia Cross had really good chemistry. So they keep Andrew around.
Okay.
And they have ups and downs. And I honestly, as I recall, so I don't know if you're new, we try not to do spoilers. Like, we try not to do major, like, we're not going to be like, and then in the season finale when blank, blank, blank.
Yeah.
We try not to do that. There will be certainly some like tonal spoilers. Like, we'll talk about things that happen, or if like it's been 20 years removed, you know, it was a very popular show. People know certain things. So it's like, basically we use our discretion when it comes to that sort of stuff. I forget why I brought this up.
Because we were talking about what happens with Bree and Andrew in the future.
As I recall, I think they end the show on good terms.
Okay.
Like, I think they end the show allies. And I remember it's very tumultuous, but I think it ends up being pretty good. Yeah. This is one of the shows that really peters out. It kind of like season 1, I recall being great.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of does this until it's like
a slow.
Yeah.
Slow Titanic-like sink.
But I remember season 1 being fantastic. And so I'm very excited to go through and rewatch this whole thing. I guess we're still mostly meeting people. We get a lot of Julie, Susan's daughter. I love Julie so much. It's having never watched a single episode of Gilmore Girls, but if you're watching it, you're in luck, because Kristin and Rachel are covering it right now. It's kind of a Gilmore Girls thing, right?
Sort of. It's less so because the implication is not that Susan was 16 when she had Julie, but that she was like a married adult.
Julie's the parent.
Well, yeah, that part, they are like kind of growing together, but yeah.
And she does, get older. And so it was kind of odd for me seeing her in this with like pigtails.
Yeah.
But
she's cute though. She's being a good wing woman with Mike.
His wife died a year ago. He wanted to stay in LA, but there were too many memories. He's renting for tax purposes, but he hopes to buy a place real soon.
I can't believe you went over there.
Hey, I saw you both flirting at the wake. You're obviously into each other.
I actually appreciate, I had a much more, well, that's just a bold-faced lie. I was going to say I had a much more traditional rapport with my mother, and
No.
I
did.
I mean, in that I didn't like Julie and Susan talks to Julie like a friend.
Sure.
But I will say, watching some of it back now, there were, and I don't remember specifically, but there was like 2 things that Susan said where I was like, though.
Mom, why would someone kill themselves?
Well, sometimes people are so unhappy they think that's the only way they can solve their problems.
But Mrs. Young always seemed happy.
Yeah. Sometimes people pretend to be one way on the outside when they're totally different on the inside.
Oh, you mean like how Dad's girlfriend is always smiling and says nice things, but deep down you just know she's a bitch.
I don't like that word, Julie. But yeah, that's a great example.
It's not bad. Like, I don't know. I like Julie, and I like
Andrea Bowen's cute.
I like their thing. We do meet Edie Britt.
Hi, Susan. I hope I'm not interrupting. You must be Mike Delfino. Hi, I'm Edie.
She is coming after Mike.
Fully formed. Yeah. Nicola Sheridan showed up and was like, "Where's my Marc?"
Yeah.
I remember being an Edie Britt sympathizer and rooting for her to an extent. We'll see where this goes. I did want to talk about Mary Alice because Brenda Strong narrates the show. She's in the whole thing, but Mary Alice is dead.
Yeah. And
I think that that's very interesting to have a ghost narrator like that. Sort of like
well, because that she can be omniscient that way.
But it's sort of like we get to watch these characters grow into who they are organically over time. And I think they do, both the writing and the acting, they do a really good job of keeping Mary out. Like it doesn't, like she feels like a part of all of this
cast
going on, considering that she offs herself in the first 5 minutes of a pilot.
Yeah.
It's
tricky.
I think, I think that is worth noting. Yeah, the Gabby and John, is that his name?
Which is boring. Yeah.
I remember that being like a big talking point, and I remember never really caring about it. It's a little like I was 18, so at the time I was like, pass the smell test to me. And now I'm sort of like, this is ill-advised several ways over.
It's definitely ill-advised, but is she meant to be that much older than him?
I mean, old enough that it's a crime. I think she's meant to be like 30.
You think he's 17?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
And
think
she's 30?
I think that's roughly.
Okay.
Because she's younger than the others. And I think that is evident throughout the entire show.
Mm.
We got Martha Huber. I love Martha Huber.
She's a lot of fun. Yeah.
That introduction to her with the Mary Alice. And I do think it's important that she took it seriously, that she called the cops, that she was sad.
And then she stole her blender.
But only for a moment. If there was one thing Mrs. Huber was known for, it was her ability to look on the bright side.
Let's get one thing clear. She stole the blender 6 months ago. That blender was properly
absconded with the blender 6 months ago, and now she's taken the name tag off of it.
I'm in a little bit of a weird place because like I'm trying to talk about the show as a whole, but I'm also just trying to talk about what we saw. We had Mary Alice's husband, Paul, and her son, Zachary. They are very off-putting.
Yeah.
As I recall, they stay that way.
It feels like if Mary Alice hadn't killed herself, we would have been dealing with a family annihilator at some point.
Yeah. Maybe two.
Maybe two.
I think Zach has a rough go of it.
I feel like I remember that as well.
I'm a little bit like,
yeah.
There's something under the swimming pool.
Yeah.
I remember. I know.
I don't remember. So.
Do you remember the mystery?
Only vaguely. And very, very little of the actual thing. And then also Mike Delfino he has a gun and he is calling someone mysteriously at the end after Susan has set Edie Britt's house on fire while she's feeling sorry for herself.
I remember being a Susan sympathizer and she's just the worst.
I don't think that's going to happen for me this time. I love Terry Hatcher. I think she's just the cutest, but I don't think it's going to happen. She's also got these big, wet, sad eyes the whole time. Just like walking around with little puppy eyes. I just can't.
Because I think actually, like, she gets told off a couple times.
I'm sure she does. Yeah.
Like,
it's sort of, she is very, you said Grey's Anatomy was the same year. She is very Meredith Grey. Very. They are cut from the same cloth.
But I think that we mentioned this when we were watching it. We watched along just for fun. So if you want to watch along with us, you can head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/soimwatching and join the $3 watchers tier. And you can watch there. I mentioned that because you were criticizing Rex breaking up with Bree at the
saloon.
Yeah, the Texas Roadhouse, whatever. And you were like, this feels like this came out of nowhere. And I was like, the show launched at a time where like media sophistication and like audience was changing.
That was not my point. My point was not a criticism of the show at all. It's a criticism of the man because men do that. Men do that. And so for Bree, she's like, I'm doing everything right. I am putting my best foot forward.
And assuming he wants
my house is perfect. My family's perfect. I make ossobuco for my family on Tuesday night and basil puree soup or whatever shit. Sounds disgusting. Basil soup? Absolutely not. I like basil, not as the main ingredient.
You also know it's cold. Like it's like
gotta be cold, like vichyssoise or something. So it's like, you know that in Bree's head, that's what it's like. And meanwhile, Rex has been slowly dying, but she has no idea because she's keeping up these appearances. And so for him to then be at this tacky restaurant that she would never choose in a million years of her life, and to have her husband blindside her with, I want a divorce because because you're not the woman I married because you're cold
you're not
now
fun. Yeah.
and you're no fun anymore. Absolutely not. Men are trash. All the men on the show, trash.
I mean, she's the one taking care of their terrible kids.
Oh.
Like, no, it like, she did not poison him. Like, she did not think, ha ha ha.
No, but like
onions,
Martha
bam.
did distract her, and she was just like building the salad, and she put a crap load of onions on it, which I guess I didn't know you could be allergic to onions.
Oh, sure.
I guess you can be allergic to anything. But
Yeah, but I was also sort of like, I mean,
like how allergic?
yeah, and I know she's your wife, but look at your food.
Also, yes.
Like, look at what you're eating. Like, I know that you should be able to trust her, but people drop balls, dude. Yeah. So I thought you were criticizing the show sort of like being slapdash with its like
I was
showing its
criticizing
work.
the man.
Because I'm going to stand by. It came out at a time where I think that the show has, in a lot of ways, I think it has a progressive edge. And in a lot of ways, it's carrying a torch from, the before times.
We talked similarly about Lost when we covered the first season of Lost. And
I mean, that's going to happen anytime that you put 20 years in between a piece of media and where you are. But I think that this sense of humor was very fresh.
Yeah.
And I think especially with the pilot, the way that they are able to reel you in with the nighttime soap, with the dishy, with the drama and all that, and then pepper in actual just like jokes. Like there's jokes plopped through, which I'm not always expecting jokes from
a drama,
a mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think that just this whole, I think it kind of caught people by surprise. And considering that it's a show about, for middle-aged women, I think that there's a weird freshness to it.
Yeah. That
is largely still there.
I think so too. I had a great time watching it.
I'm trying to think. Because I said we ended up with Paul digging up the swimming pool.
Yeah.
I feel like
and Zach had heard that sound once before when he was a very small boy. So I liked it.
Well, we're gonna watch the next one, and then we'll talk about it when it's done.
Bye.